I began my research with a simple question. What might disconnect someone from their culture? An inquiry based on personal feelings of disconnect from my home country's culture and myself. That, however, didn't prove to be very interesting, and I wanted to cover the more active forms of disconnect, rather than disassociation, disgruntlement, to the point of seeking revenge against a society or group that you felt wronged you. This quickly led to me researching terrorist attacks, but rather than ones fueled by hatred in other groups or cultures, I was interested in ones inspired by groups or cultures that the perpetrator was part of or was living in, as it would seem rather odd to me to attack your own state/society. The first case I found was relating to the Congressional Research Service study titled American Jihad Terrorism, Combating a Complex Threat, where it was found that between May 2009 and November 2010, police made arrests relating to jihad-inspired terrorist plots by American citizens or legal residents of the United States. And the concept of homegrown terrorism is taken seriously in other countries, as the United Kingdom has shown concern with its civilians being radicalized as to even prevent extremist speakers from having a platform in universities. So while interesting, this is only one source for domestic terrorism, and I wanted to see what other things might cause a person to turn against their own people. While on the research path, a certain name was brought up, Theodore Kaczynski, informally known as the Unabomber. Kaczynski was a man who believed that the Industrial Revolution was terrible for humanity and wanted to return to a pre-industrial society. His plan was to force the newspapers at the time to publish his manifesto, and if they didn't comply, would mail bombs to people associated with universities and airlines. His breed of terrorism is called eco-terrorism, and, in this context, is used by people who seek to bring attention to ecological or environmental causes by violence or destructive acts. One case I had in the back of my mind was the perpetrator of the Isla Vista shooting, Elliot Rodger, who felt he was wronged by society. In his own words,
"For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I've hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me."
He felt as though women owed him a relationship, and as such never attempted to approach women, resulting in him viewing his singleness as a constant rejection. At this point in the research, I discovered that most of these acts were committed due to religious convictions, such as jihadist, race prejudice, and supremacist goals, such as Dylan Roof, the white supremacist who committed the Charleston church shooting, killing 9 African Americans, politically motivated, like the Unabomber, or in pursuit of special interests. This seemingly took me back to my thesis, but with one Google search, I found a new possible answer in the FBI's website, social alienation. The FBI directly lists it as a cause for people to become extremists, and one can assume this isn't mutually exclusive to terrorist organizations, as shown in the article discussing almost all mass shootings stem from social alienation, with most not relating to any of the previously mentioned reasons. Another common cause is getting revenge against a specific person or people who the perpetrator felt wronged by, such as the Columbine High School massacre, where 2 students, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, intended to kill students in retaliation against them being bullied, or the rather peculiar case of Martin Hamer, a welder who, after having his livelihood threatened by zoning laws, decided to take a bulldozer and arm it with iron plates and guns to wreak havoc on the town and the people that caused his muffler shop to be unable to function. Judging by these cases, the attacker generally believes that all their problems are the result of whatever they're committing the crime against, and through a combination of social isolation, building anxiety, and anger, they feel that this is the only solution. Given more time, one can also research how social isolation occurs, as it is vital to the concept, as well as mental condition of the person committing the act. Let me be clear and say that acts of violence are not an acceptable answer to feeling like you've been wronged, and whatever excuses these killers give doesn't justify what they did. That being said, I feel that I now understand what potentially might cause someone to see a rampage as a possible answer to the things they felt had committed an injustice to them despite being from their own community.